Joining us now is Mike Davis. Mike Davis is from the Article 3 Project. Mike, welcome to the program. Mike, walk us through the technical side of the contempt of Congress, Merrick Garland. So is it true that Merrick Garland makes the decision of whether or not he gets investigated for what he did wrong? How is this possible, Mike Davis?
Well, he can make that decision right now, but he won't be making that decision after January 20th, 2025, when President Trump is back in office and his acting attorney general actually follows the law here and opens a criminal probe on Attorney General Merrick Garland, who was held in contempt of Congress. Remember what happened here. You had Merrick Garland, who sent top Trump White House trade advisor Peter Navarro to prison for contempt of Congress after President Trump asserted constitutional executive privilege going back 250 years to George Washington, so presidents can get candid advice from their advisors without fear they'll be pulled before courts or Congress to reveal that advice. You had Merrick Garland prosecuting Steve Bannon, one of President Trump's top outside presidential advisors, and executive privilege, according to the Office of Legal Counsel at the Justice Department, applies to outside presidential advisors. He's heading to prison for contempt of Congress after assertion of constitutional executive privilege by President Trump. But then you have Merrick Garland here. Merrick Garland released the transcript of special counsel Robert Hur's recording with President Biden. So I don't know how you can claim executive privilege when you release the transcript. You have waived executive privilege, yet Merrick Garland is trying to claim that the audio recording of this conversation between special counsel Robert Hur and President Biden is somehow covered by executive privilege, even though they released the transcript. It is legally frivolous what Garland is asserting here. And then he ran to the Office of Legal Counsel, apparently, and got a memo from his subordinates saying, hey, our boss, Merrick Garland, can't get charged with contempt of Congress because of executive privilege. This is a frivolous legal argument. I can't believe that the Office of Legal Counsel, which is supposed to be the general counsel for the executive branch, binding on the executive branch, went along with this frivolous legal argument. And again, when President Trump's back in office, his acting attorney general on day one should open a criminal probe, because remember what Merrick Garland says, nobody is above the law, and that includes Attorney General Merrick Garland.
I completely agree. I want to take a detour here for a second, and we'll get back on course of what we are talking about here, Mike. But it's very interesting. I think that Donald Trump's vice presidential selection will be one of the most important VP selections in modern American history for obvious reasons. But I think who he selects for attorney general will be equally, if not more important. People have floated for you for attorney general, which I know you'd be terrific. Let's say that doesn't work out for whatever reason. Can you give us A, some names, or at the very least, B, some criteria for what Donald Trump should be looking for in attorney general? I believe his second term, God willing we get one, by the grace of God, will be made or broken more based on who he chooses for AG than even for VP. Mike Davis.
So I can't get confirmed as Attorney General. I was the chief counsel for nominations on the Senate Judiciary Committee. I always tell people I'm too charming to get confirmed. There's no way in hell the Senate would ever confirm me to anything, especially as Attorney General. I want to be Trump's viceroy because I don't want to be accountable to courts and Congress. But in all seriousness, for the Attorney General, you need someone who is bold, who is fearless, who's not going to be cowed by the left, who's not going to be cowed by the right. You need someone who's going to look at the Constitution, look at federal statutes, and follow the law and let the chips fall where they may. There are people out there who would be fantastic, a fantastic attorney general for President Trump. I personally like Mark Paoletta a lot. He is the former counsel in the vice president's office.
He would be terrific. That's a name. I like it. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I'm writing it down.
He'd be so good. And he's close to Justice Clarence Thomas. He helped Justice Clarence Thomas get confirmed. He's a very good man. He doesn't need the job. He doesn't need the money. He has a fantastic family. He would be the perfect pick for President Trump for Attorney General, because he's shown over the years in his defense of Justice Clarence Thomas against the left-wing attacks that Mark Paoletta fears no one. He's not going to cow to anyone. He's worked on the Hill. He's worked in the executive branch. He's worked in the Office of Management and Budget as the general counsel, which is a crucial job. So he thoroughly understands the executive branch, the Supreme Court, the lower courts, Congress. He would be the perfect pick.
Other names, just I sorry to put you on the spot here, Mike, but this is so important. We have to start really building this out because I do not want to see another Bill Barr. I don't want to see another Rod Rosenstein. And it also has to be somebody, and he gets a really bad rap, understandably, and he deserves it for some reasons, but Jeff Sessions was an objectively great attorney general, except for the fact that he recused himself and he blew up the entire administration. Otherwise, he was great on crime, he was great on gangs, all this other stuff, but he was not the right person because he couldn't handle the heat. Who else, Mike Davis, should we be looking at for attorney general?
You need people who are bold and fearless. I love Jeff Clark as well. Jeff Clark should be a great candidate for attorney general. I don't know if the January 6th investigations have made it where it'd be hard to confirm him. I still think he can get confirmed if President Trump wins by 2 or 3 points and picks up several Senate seats. So someone like Jeff Clark, who has been a Senate confirmed top official in the Justice Department, he's led several litigating divisions in the Justice Department. He's a brilliant attorney. He's fearless. If he can't be the attorney general, he'd be a great White House counsel. There are many. Here's my biggest issue is I don't want politicians who are worried about their next jobs, right? And that's why people like Mark Paoletta and Jeff Clark would be great, because they don't need to worry about their next jobs. People like that who can just go in there and do their jobs on day one, do the cleaning house at the FBI and Main Justice that desperately needs to be done, open critical investigations, civil rights investigations against these Hamas supporters who are terrorizing Jewish Americans, particularly Jewish college students all across America. We can't have 2 systems of justice in America where Joe Biden and Merrick Garland have politicized and weaponized the Justice Department to go after Trump, his family, his top aides, his allies, while this Justice Department, this Biden Justice Department, gives amnesty to Joe Biden and James Biden and Hunter Biden, every scumbag Biden who's taken over $20 million from Russia, China, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, the biggest trouble spots in the world. It seems like every Biden family member is on the payroll except for the 6-year-old granddaughter who they don't want to claim. The Biden Justice Department gives amnesty to BLM and Antifa and trans terrorists and abortion industry activists and Hamas supporters. This is unacceptable. We're throwing little old lady Christians in prison under the Federal FACE Act for praying at abortion clinics, but we're not going to put trans terrorists who are terrorizing pro-life pregnancy centers and Catholic churches. We're not going to put abortion industry activists who are doing the same in prison. This is unsustainable. This politicized and weaponized justice system. These are Republic-ending tactics by Joe Biden and Merrick Garland in the Biden Justice Department. And the only way this ends is to deliver real justice for real crimes starting on January 20th, 2025.
Mike Davis, Article 3 Project, excellent work. Thank you so much.